Hi, John. As we talked about, there's plenty of issues, as always, it seems to be in the aviation world. And we saw this week the easyjet announcing preemptively some significant cancellations for the peak summer period.
Wise move. And, preemptive. They're going to be moving a lot of people around in the next few days. They're talking about undertaking this exercise on those routes with high frequencies, which you would expect. And ultimately, I think it's good of them to do that. This is not an easyjet resource issue. This is an industry issue. easyjet are resourced and ready, but I think they realise the problems and the fragile nature of the infrastructure in Europe at the moment. And we've got threats of ATC disputes throughout Europe. The French have only had a couple of their normal per annum ATC days off. So there'll be more of those coming in August. And easyjet are just being prudent. It's if you're inconvenienced, just think you could have been even more inconvenienced if your flight was cancelled at 24 hours notice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, more details to follow, but I guess to your point, I mean, it's kind of low single digit share of the number of flights. Well, I was looking at Gatwick in particular, and I know they've not explicitly said which routes or from which base, but I think the inference was the majority are going to be Gatwick. But I guess, as you say, for peak summer, it's probably going to be targeted on routes where there's multiple daily frequencies, and so you maybe not having to change your hotel accommodation by a day or so. It just might be, well, maybe in some cases you'll arrive a bit early, and it might be a bonus. But I guess to your point, having that, hopefully that knowledge that you're probably going to get away as intended, rather than having a nasty surprise at the airport.
Yeah, and I think easyjet will be maximising capacity using their largest variants at Gatwick as much as they can. So that's going to help as well. But I think the bigger issue, Mark, quite honestly, is about ATC and how they're going to cope. I mean, they must be under enormous pressure at the moment. We've lost air traffic controllers in Europe. We've got less space in which to manage the flows. I think last Friday was one of the busiest days ever for air traffic movements. And you put all of these things on top of it, and you can't train an air traffic controller very quickly. And we saw this in New York when they had the meltdown pre 4th of July Independence Day holidays. You can have all the ATC controllers that you possibly can, but until you actually work the job, you know what you can and can't do, and you're comfortable with the pressures you're going to be under. It's a tough job. So well done, easyjet, for doing this now, rather than hacking me off at 5 o'clock on a August morning when I thought I was going on holiday.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I mean, I guess maybe more airlines to come as well, given the number of large players in the European market, but time will tell.